Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to episode 9 of Keeping It Clean with Manny Robles. I'm your host of FightersRep, along with your co-host, aka the Professor of Punch, Manny Robles. How you doing, Professor?
I'm Professor. I like that. I'm doing great. I'm doing great, George. It's been had a great weekend with the family and ready to do this show. I'm excited about it.
I love it, Manny. Well, I must say, you're styling and profiling today. I'm gonna need you.
Uh,
That this looks like it may be your favorite team. I'm gonna need you to walk me through this outfit real quick.
well, it's the Mexican jersey, the Mexican soccer jersey. That's all it is.
Okay,
It's
okay.
it's not my team. My team is Chivas. Maybe next week I'll wear my Chivas jersey.
Got you. I remember you telling me about that and saying Robert Garcia liked a different team, so I was just making sure there.
Yeah, he's an America fan, but that's our biggest rival in soccer, Mexican soccer. That is anyway.
Right. So not everybody can be perfect. That's what you got to tell him next time you see
Yeah,
him.
that's what I tell him. Man, listen, it's okay, man. You're almost perfect. You're a great coach, but I don't know about your team though.
And Manny, the hat
Yeah,
is that the hat also of the Mexican national team?
that's a baseball hat. That's for
Okay,
the
okay.
Mexican baseball team. Yep, baseball.
I see. I love it, Manny. I love it. Styling, profiling, representing Mexico as usual. I
Yep.
love it.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
So, Manny,
You know.
today we've got, a good bit of gossip, if you want to call it that. We've got Ryan Garcia. It looks like he's going to be fighting Luke Campbell. And definitely want to get your thoughts on that. Maybe a little preview on that. Apparently, Manny Pacquiao wants to fight Gennady Golovkin, of all people, Manny. And then, yeah. And then we have Canelo Alvarez, the basically the lottery of boxing. It looks like he may not, we're not sure who he's going to be taking on now. It could either be Jason Quigley or it could be Callum Smith. And they're saying in the grapevine, and you're like one of the grapes on the grapevine, so that's why I'm approaching you.
Okay.
I'm approaching you with this, but it looks like DAZN wants to fight. Callum Smith's team wants to fight. Canelo wants to fight. So that's definitely something I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on.
Right. Interesting. That's a tough fight for Canelo. It's not an easy fight. I think Colum is a very good fighter, very legit, super middleweight fighter. Um, but maybe I wouldn't say it's not possible. Obviously it is. But I figured if he wanted to fight someone like Colin Smith, I figured he'd probably wait until this whole coronavirus situation clears up, because that's a type of fight that people, it'd be great for the fans to be there, to be present.
Yeah.
Maybe the fight. Maybe have the fight in Vegas. Obviously, that's considered to be Canelo's home, or maybe overseas, maybe in Great Britain somewhere.
Yeah, that's a big fight, Manny. That's a big fight, and I think it would be maybe a better move to fight a lower level guy, perhaps, to stay busy at this time, right?
Well, I don't know about Jason Quigley being lower level. He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
I just feel that he's not a world champion like Colin is. So obviously, he
Right.
doesn't have that pedigree. But he's definitely a legit contender. If that's the case, if they do decide to go with Jason Quigley anyway.
Right, and that's a fighter you're definitely familiar with, Manny.
Absolutely, I work with Jason Quigley. He's a great fighter. Has a great amateur background. Good professional record. I was with him for more than half of his career as a professional. Even as an amateur, he was with me with the World Series of Boxing, when I had the World Series of Boxing with the LA Matador. So he's one of my athletes, one of my boxers. I'm very familiar with him, and I have a lot of love and respect for Jason Quigley.
Very cool, Manny. So, I mean, let's kind of get into it. But before we do that and start talking about Ryan Garcia taking on Luke Campbell, quick shout out to our fantastic sponsor, Manny, Foxhound Fuel, natural, effective supplements in all stages of your workout, specifically designed for fighters. If you use the code FightersRep15 at checkout, you get 15% off, and you can check out Foxhound Fuel and their awesome supplements. Down below in the description, we have their website, so you can go over there, check them out, and follow them on Instagram at Foxhound Fuel.
Yeah, I got some of my boxers taking Foxhound, and they feel great. So I advise everyone else to go ahead and give it a try.
Very nice,
good
Manny.
stuff. It's good stuff, definitely.
Very cool, very cool. I've decided to dabble a little myself in the post workout after heading to the park and doing some pull ups on the playground, Manny. There's nothing else I can do at this time, brother.
That's right.
I can't go to the fight gym, so that's what I've been doing, and it was.
You do what you can, right, to stay busy and
Yes, sir.
stay preoccupied. That's for sure.
So Ryan Garcia, he's been going back and forth with Golden Boy Manny. We've heard what seems to be a sort of love-hate relationship going on, but he really does seem to be leveraging his status on social media, his popularity, into getting what he wants, but not in a bad way. He seems to be wanting to challenge himself, Manny.
That's a good thing. I think that's great that he wants to challenge himself and feels that he is now ready to take on the bigger, better, recognized boxers out there in the game. I think it's time. I think he's a great talent, and I think it's time for for Ryan to show the world what he's capable of.
But Manny, isn't this, a significant step up taking on the Olympic gold medalist in Luke Campbell?
I definitely believe it's a step up. But it's time, as I said. Luke Campbell's got a couple of defeats. He's come up short to two of the premier lightweights in the world, such as Jorge Linares and Vasil Lomachenko. And those were close fights, good fights. But I definitely believe that Ryan is ready for the task at hand.
I love that you bring up him coming up short to those guys, Manny. Definitely, again, you're very familiar with Jorge Linares. But I think, that Jorge Linares was really in great form back in 2017. I think hopefully we'll see Jorge Linares at that level again. Am I right, Manny?
Absolutely. Look, I believe that Jorge Linares is a better fighter now than he was in his younger years. He's a much more experienced fighter now. And as I said before in the past, you can't buy experience. That's something that he's been able to acquire with time. And he's got great green generalship. He's quick, he's fast. I know for a fact that he's an extremely hard worker. He's very disciplined. He's always in the gym. He's always training hard. He's always in shape. So, I don't take anything away from Linares. He's had a few defeats along his career. It's boxing, but that hasn't stopped him from pursuing a new world title. And I believe he can do it. I mean, and he's out there wanting to fight the best fighters in the world as well, the best super lightweights in the world. Uh, I believe he can do it. Definitely can do it. Tried fighting at 140 and lost to Cesar Cano. He actually got stopped.
Yeah.
Got knocked out by Cesar Cano. He realized that wasn't his weight, and he came back down to 135, where he feels comfortable at, where he feels he's at his best, and again, he's got everything to become a world champion once again.
Definitely look forward to seeing him in the ring again, Manny. I always thought he was one of the most fantastic technicians that I had seen when he was kind of in his prime, and I'm hoping what you say stands true, and we can see him get back or show his level one more
That,
time. But what really gets me excited, Manny, is you mentioned the Vasil Lomachenko loss with Luke Campbell, and that was his last fight. That was on August
uh,
31st, 2019. So he'd be coming off that loss. But my goodness, Manny, I mean, he put up a hell of a fight in that
yes,
fight
he
against
did.
Lomachenko.
Yes, he did. I'm surprised that he hasn't fought. That he hasn't fought since the Lomachenko defeat. Maybe because of the, what everybody's going through with the coronavirus situation, where, we're all stuck and we hardly have any shows in boxing. But for him to come back after that defeat and fight Ryan Garcia, I also believe that's asking for a lot at the same time.
Right.
Maybe get a couple fights. To get him back on track, get him back on the winning column, and then look for a fight with Ryan. So, but fighters fight, man. And he's out there. He's willing to fight Ryan today now. Then, I can respect that. I can respect that because he's willing to go in there and fight someone like Ryan. What that hasn't proven to be one of the best fighters in the world yet, but he's definitely one to reckon with. Definitely one that can go out there and pretty much uh, uh, you know get in the ring and fight someone like Luke Campbell and possibly defeat him.
But Manny, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's really got my interest now, because that fight with Vasil Lomachenko. I mean, for me, it looked like a really good fight, and they went all 12 rounds. Lomachenko won the unanimous decision. But for me, it looked like a really close fight. Now, I mean, could you
Right.
imagine Ryan Garcia, a kid who's, just basically a kid, 21 years old, 20-0 with 17 knockouts, going out there and doing the business against a guy like Luke
Possible.
Campbell?
It's possible. Look, and when my dad would tell me back in the day that, hey, when you're good, you're good. You can fight anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere, at any weight class. When you're good, you're good. And Ryan is that type of fighter. He's good, but sometimes his comments or what he's posting on social media and his comments don't help him out too much. You know what I'm saying? And then the beef that he's got with this promoter isn't really something. Isn't really positive. Doesn't really make him look good
Right,
because at
right,
the end of the day, it's your promoter.
right, right,
There's no one fighter in the world that's bigger than boxing and than the sport of boxing. I'm not saying I'm not saying that he thinks he's bigger than boxing, but he's definitely not bigger than his promoter. Promoters, especially someone like Golden Boy, they have a lot of fighters that they're working with. You know what I mean? So, you know, you, there's a saying in life, right? You don't bite the hand that feeds you,
right,
right?
right, right,
And,
right.
and so, I mean, that's your promoter, man. They're the ones that sign your paychecks, you know?
Yeah,
And they're the ones
yeah,
that get you fights and promote you and gotten him to where he's at today. You
right.
know, he hasn't done it all by himself. You know what I mean? Ryan, yeah, he's got a great following in social media, but you got to give some credit to your promoters. You know what I mean? They get you the fights.
Yeah, yeah.
They promote you. They with obviously with Robert Diaz, with being the great matchmaker that he is, getting them the right fights at the right time. That's your promoter. That's not just you. It takes a village to build a great boxer. You can be a great boxer, but it takes more than just being a great boxer. You got to have the right trainer, the right promoter, the right manager, and obviously the right fighter. If you have all of that, then sky's the limit, man.
Manny Robles dropping the knowledge. I love it, Manny. I agree wholeheartedly. Um, what I don't like about Ryan Garcia and the posts and the things we're mentioning here is that when there's a disagreement on money, I don't
Yeah,
think that that's something that should be made public. That's probably something that should be
absolutely, absolutely. I agree 100%. And that's what we talked about this in the past. So why did Ryan? I think Ryan re-signed with it. Well, I don't think I'm quite certain that he re-signed once again with Golden Boy. Then why would you? If you weren't happy the first time, why would you sign? another contract or a second contract.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? I don't understand that. I don't understand why. You wait for your contract to come to an end, and then you move on. So, you know, um, speaking of boxers that are no longer with their promoters, I suppose he waited for his contract to come to an end. And I don't know what happened. Surdo Ramirez, I believe, is no longer with Top Rank. That's the
Oh man.
word in the grapevine. So, I wonder what's up with him now. Where's he going? What promoters, will find interest in signing him? I'm sure there's promoters up there that be interested, but who?
Yeah. No, I mean he's a great, talented fighter, Manny.
That's another fighter that went up against his promoter, and they sat him down for well over a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't go against your promoter, man. With Top Rank, you're gonna go against your promoter. You can't do it. You're not gonna win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know.
Maybe he needs a manager like Manny Robles on his team.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're trying, man. We're trying.
Hey, and it's there in the
Yeah,
top left corner, LBA legends.
right.
So any hot contenders out there looking for someone to properly manage their career, somebody with experience in the fight game,
Absolutely. Come and join us, guys. Give us a shot. We'll do right by you guys.
for sure reach out to Manny on LBA Legends at Instagram or Manuel.boxing at Instagram. And you could follow us too at FightersRep on Instagram and everywhere else. Manny, we were talking about Luke Campbell. We're talking about Ryan Garcia. I told you, I don't like the disagreements about money being aired in public because it looks bad for
I
everybody.
agree. I agree.
But what I do like about Ryan Garcia is that he seems frustrated also because he feels like he's not getting the fights that will challenge him. And that's one thing I respect about him. Even though I don't like, again, the airing the dirty laundry, I love the fact that he wants to fight, a guy like Luke Campbell. I mean, I really respect that.
hmm again, as I said, boxing wise, I can respect that, and hopefully they'll come to an agreement. I believe obviously Ryan is with Golden Boy, and Luke Campbell is with help me with this
Is it
what is
Matchroom?
it? Matchroom Boxing. So I believe it's a fight that can definitely be made. Hopefully they'll come to an agreement. Again, the money,
Yeah.
and they make the fight happen soon.
And what do you think? I mean, who do you think wins that fight? Or who do you think, what do you think each guy needs to kind of do to win that fight? Because that's a very interesting fight.
You know what? I don't know because Luke Campbell's been tested with two of the best fighters, or one of the best fighters in the world. And not to take anything away from Jorge Linares, he's definitely one of the best at 135.
Yeah.
And Luke Campbell gave, again, going back to Lomachenko, he fought Lomachenko, and he gave him a hell of a fight. And so we know what he's capable of. Unfortunately, he's come up short twice. I believe he's got three defeats.
Yeah, he
He lost
does.
earlier in his career. He's got a loss earlier in his career.
He did.
He's
He
always,
lost. He lost to Ivan Mendy, but later avenged that loss that he lost by split decision.
uh, and like I said, and sometimes these type of fights make you a better fighter. And I
Right.
believe that he's that. Well, we'll definitely see what he's got. Definitely see what he's capable of, and we'll see if he's become a better fighter now. Because sometimes you tend to think, okay, is he doing it for the money? He's a little older now. He's not a young man anymore. He's up in his, I believe he's in his 30s now.
34.
So there you go. He's not a young man. So he's looking for these type of fights. He's looking for big fights. It's a business at the end of the day. Looking to get paid, but hopefully he comes in great shape and he gives people a great fight. On the other hand, with Ryan, as you said, 21. He's got some growing up to do. Uh, um, uh, but as a fighter, as an individual, he's got some growing up to do anyway. Talk to the right people, surround himself with the right crowd, and get the right advice. And think before you speak. And and then on the other hand, but he's a talented fighter.
Yeah.
That a fighter that has yet to be tested. You know, he's and everyone he's fought, he's pretty much taken care of. He's pretty much knocked everyone out. His last couple of outings, he's been able to knock guys out in the first round. That's pretty impressive.
Right.
If you ask me, pretty impressive. And I don't care what level you consider these guys at. When you're able to do what he's been doing and be able to go out and just destroy his opponents, you know, relatively quick, first round knockouts, that's pretty impressive. But is he ready for someone like Luke Campbell? I mean, you're going up
Yeah.
three or four different levels right here. Like you said, he's a Olympic gold medalist. So you can't take anything away from a fighter like Luke Campbell. Is he ready for him? We'll see. Is it a fight that we fans want to see? Absolutely.
Manny, for you, with all the experience you have in the fight game, does Ryan Garcia pass the eye test for you to be facing a guy like Luke Campbell?
Does he pass it?
Yeah, like what you see, are you seeing a
I don't.
talent
I
there?
don't know. I don't know. Look, I'm a boxing fan. I'm not a. I've never. I've had. I do have my favorite boxers and fighters that I consider my idols. From the past, maybe today. Lomachenko, and a couple other fighters today that I believe are phenomenal. But uh, when you talk about Ryan Garcia, I believe that he's definitely a great fighter, but so is Luke Campbell. And what I want to see as a fan is a great fight. I'm not. I won't sit here and tell you, Ryan Garcia is going to knock him out or will win by unanimous decision. I don't know that. I don't know that. This is a good fight, but anything can happen. Like I said, he's been knocking guys out in the first round. But
Yeah.
again, Luke Campbell isn't any of these guys,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I believe this is his biggest test to date.
Manny, I think if he beats Luke Campbell, I mean, imagine he beats him in a more convincing fashion,
Oh man,
than
and
Lomachenko does. What happens to Ryan Garcia's star power at that
no,
point?
no, definitely, that's great, definitely. And then he can probably, go and sit there and talk to his promoters and maybe demand to get paid more money.
Yeah.
But he can't be demanding to get paid. I don't know how much he's asking for, but I don't believe he's there yet. Most of us, I think most of us agree with that, don't
Yeah.
you? What do you think? Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he needs to, be patient.
Hmm.
I think the time will come. I think in a fight like Luke Campbell, it is a dangerous fight, so maybe he warrants a little bit of a bump in pay for taking such a dangerous fight at this point in his career.
Right.
But I think if he beats again, Manny, if this kid beats Luke Campbell in a fashion that's more impressive than Lomachenko did, I think he definitely gains a lot of leverage at that point as far as asking for more pay.
I also believe that a fighter like Ryan Garcia, not just Ryan, every fighter out, a lot of fighters out. I shouldn't say every fighter because, um, uh, but there's a lot of fighters out there. Fighters like Oscar de la Hoya, fighters like Mayweather, fighters like let's see, Fernando Vargas, and we're going back in the past a little bit. Even Andre Ward and fighters such as that. They bring them up right.
Yeah.
They're slowly they develop them slowly, and I believe that's where a lot of we never talk about matchmakers in boxing. Matchmakers like Brad Goodman or again Robert Diaz from Golden or Brad Goodman from Top Rank. I believe these are two of the best matchmakers in boxing, and they should get a lot more credit than they do get because Bruce Trampler, another one, that they develop these fighters' career. They're the matchmakers. They uh, know how to match up, how to how to matchmake and how to bring their fighters up right, get them the right fights at the right time, and they make them superstars.
Yeah.
They develop these fighters, and they become superstars, and that's what they were able to do with again, Oscar de la Hoya, uh, uh, Floyd Mayweather, and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
Miguel
Yeah.
Cotto,
Andre
uh,
Ward, like you said.
Andre
I mean,
Ward, yeah,
all
all
these
these other
guys. Yeah.
other other superstars, right? And not they're doing the same thing with Ryan. And maybe it's time for Ryan to fight someone. I'm sorry, fight someone like Luke Campbell.
Yeah.
34. It's all about timing and matchmaking. He's 34 now, as you mentioned.
Well,
You know.
actually, that was Linares.
Oh,
That
okay.
was
How
that
old
was
is Luke Campbell?
34.
I believe he's
Sorry.
in
Let
his
me
30s as well.
let me see.
About
Luke.
32. I think he's like 32 or something.
32. Yeah, 32.
There you
You're
go.
right on point.
There you go. And see, so he's not a young man, and he's an experienced fighter. 32, I believe he's like I said. Remember we talked about the new age for boxers. Their new prime is now in their 30s.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
no longer
Yeah.
in their mid 20s. So, we'll see. We'll see. But I definitely believe that they're bringing Ryan up the right way. They're getting him the right fights at the right time. Sometimes we as fans, we're too anxious. We want him to fight the best fighters today, but he's freaking 21.
Right. Right. Right.
He's 21 years old. He's a young man, and he's already starting to become a superstar.
Another, I think, huge point is the fact that Garcia's coming off two first round stoppages.
Right.
The one before one was, the one before that was a second round stoppage, I believe. And he's coming up against a guy who, despite being incredibly impressive, Luke Campbell, is coming off a loss. So,
Correct. Correct.
sometimes these losses, they can mess with a fighter's head. Am I right, Manny?
Well, it works two ways. Either they mess with your head, or you become a better fighter.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you learn more from your defeats than you do from your victories, from your wins. Just
Yeah.
depends on what you're made out of. What are you made out of? You know what I mean? And then you got to prove it. You got to go out. You get knocked down. You get back up. You do it again. It's what you signed up for.
For sure. Before moving on to the next topic, I wanted to give, my condolences, our condolences to, we lost a young man in boxing, Manny, just 5 days ago
We did.
by the name of Travell Mazion, WBC NABF super welterweight titleist. He was 17-0,
Wow.
13 knockouts. Such a shame. A native of Austin, Texas, a great fighter, nicknamed Black Magic. His whole life ahead of him, Manny. A 6'2"
What a
light
shame.
middleweight, Manny.
What a shame, man. My deepest condolences go out to him and his entire family, friends and family, all his loved ones. It's a tragedy, and it's painful, for all of us in boxing. I believe, you feel for these talented fighters that have, they have everything going, going their way. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
possibly become world champions, possibly become, superstars, and all of a sudden, something like this happens. It's sad.
Very sad, Manny, and he last fought in January of this year, where he earned a KO victory and won his WBC NABF super welterweight title against Fernando Castañeda in the first round,
Wow.
with a shot to the body. So, he'll be sorely missed. May he rest in peace, and our condolences to him and his family. A huge loss for boxing to lose a talented young man like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Manny, the next topic I wanted to touch on with you.
What's
We've
up?
we've got the senator.
A senator.
We've got the senator over 40 years old. He wants to
Oh,
He wants to take on a certain scary boogeyman from Kazakhstan, Triple G. Manny Pacquiao seems like he wants to fight Gennady Golovkin of all people. Manny, what do you think
Hey,
about that one?
it doesn't surprise me. Manny Pacquiao will go down in history as one of the best fighters in the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me, man. This guy continues to fight the best in the world, and he continues to beat everyone. Sometimes he comes up short. The fight with Jeff Horn, no one ever expected for him to win that fight, and a lot of people thought that he should have retired after that fight. And he's been able to turn it around. Must have done some soul searching, and got himself back in the gym, and you know set his priorities straight. And look at him now, he's a world champion again. He defeated Keith Thurman.
41 years old, Manny.
Incredible.
41 years old, and he's still campaigning at the very top of a division that, if we're being honest, his body type would lead you to believe that he doesn't belong in that division.
Absolutely. What was it? His first world title was at flyweight,
I
light
think so.
flyweight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes.
108 pounds. I could be wrong, but there's 108 pounds, and he's a world champion at super welterweight. Wants to go out there and fight Triple G at middleweight.
It's incredible.
Christ, man, that's incredible. Definitely incredible.
The guy's a phenom. And what do
Oh,
you
man.
what do you think about him wanting to take on? I mean, Triple G's 38 years old now. He's no spring chicken, Manny, but he's still a very dangerous man, Manny. A very dangerous man.
Absolutely. The last thing you lose is power. You
Yeah.
can lose, you can lose speed. You can lose reflexes. You can, you become slower perhaps. But one thing you don't lose, you never lose, is power. So that's a powerful man right there, and Gennady Golovkin. So Manny Pacquiao, as I said, he better think twice before he steps in the ring with someone like Triple G. But again, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that Manny is willing to fight anybody. Someone like Triple G. Wow. And maybe what if he beats Triple G? What's next?
My
Canelo?
goodness. My goodness.
Right?
My goodness. Could you imagine that? I mean, he could definitely, if he beats Triple G, he could 100% make a case to fight Canelo. That's hilarious that you bring that up.
Maybe
It's
that's
true.
maybe that's what he's aiming for. Yeah, if he beats Triple G and if he beats Canelo, then he might make enough money to buy the whole country of the Philippines.
If he hasn't already, Manny. If he might buy the United States if he fights Canelo and wins that fight. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Wow, Manny. You know, Triple G though, what comes to mind to me when we're talking about a Manny Pacquiao versus a Triple G, Manny, is the fact that Triple G fought a smaller guy before, a guy who came up to challenge him. And this is what pops into my head. It's Kell Special K Brook, a guy who was
Right.
incredibly talented, but maybe moved up one weight class too many to take on a guy like Triple G, and ended up, you know, uh, perhaps permanently messing with his career because, man, he broke his orbital bone in that fight.
Yeah. Got to be careful what you ask for. I remember Kell Brook calling out Triple G. Remember, Triple G was a middleweight, and Kell Brook is a welterweight, 147.
Right, right, right.
That's a lot to ask for, man. 147, go up and fight someone like Triple G at 160, and look what happened.
And Manny,
And
he came out. He came out and he put on a show.
But he put on a great fight, though. He put on a great fight.
Right, right. He put on a show, but eventually, I think that difference in weight got to him. He got caught, and his orbital bone caved in. I mean, that's a
Man,
serious
weight,
injury.
absolutely, weight and power. It's a powerful man in Triple G. Very strong.
That's and then after that, I mean, he ended up losing his other orbital bone to Errol Spence. So, I mean, this could have been a career changing fight for him. And, when I think Manny Pacquiao wants to fight this guy, I mean, let's be honest, Manny, there's an argument to be made that Triple G has never lost a fight. There's an argument to be made there.
Well, no, definitely. You can definitely argue that. Definitely. I for one, thought that Triple G beat Canelo the first time they fought.
I agree.
The second fight, it was a close fight. That fight could have been a draw.
Yeah. I thought so.
Could have definitely been a draw. Could have went either way. But I'm not going to argue the decision either. It was so close that it could have went either way. And
right.
Judges picked Canelo, and you can't argue that.
I love that. I agree. It makes me feel legitimized that I agree with you on those fights, because I thought Triple G won the first fight, and I thought the second one was very close.
Hey, listen, it's an opinion. That's all it is. Right? People may like it, people may not, but it's just an opinion. You don't have to agree with us. Yeah. We just keep it clean.
That's what we do here. And by the way, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon below. Join us every Monday at 7 p.m. right here on Keep It Clean with Manny Robles. We're talking about Manny Pacquiao wanting to fight Gennady Golovkin. Seems a little crazy, but not. But when you're talking about Manny Pacquiao, and you think about what he was able to do against Antonio Margarito, who was way bigger than him, and Keith Thurman, and all these big, strong guys, you see that Manny Pacquiao is a serious contender in this fight.
Yeah, what he did to Margarito, oh my goodness. Margarito. Definitely. Put his hands on him, that's for sure.
Yeah. It sounds like you're not a huge fan of Margarito, man.
After what he did, no, I'm not a fan at all.
Yeah.
Shameful.
Well, I love that, and I appreciate that. And I think that's a good segue into our next topic, Manny, I wanted to talk to you about. It looks like, we were thinking Canelo was going to go up against Jason Quigley. We mentioned this briefly at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. We don't know yet.
We don't know.
Yet, it might be Jason Quigley. It might be someone else. We just don't know who it is. It's up in the air right now. There's several names that are being mentioned, that are being thrown at a Canelo, and it's up to Canelo, who again, he's a cash cow. He can fight anybody he wants. So it's up to him to decide. And I don't believe it's just Canelo. I mean, it's got a TV. He's signed to the zone, so TV's got to agree on the opponent as well. What's good for TV? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's between Canelo, the promoter, with Golden Boy, and the zone to decide on what's best, what's the best, who's the best available opponent for Canelo.
So, Manny, are you saying you don't know and you're not hiding from us what's actually going to happen?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's facts. It's facts. It's up to Canelo to decide on who he wants to fight next. Again, him and his team, and then we're just waiting. But the date, I mean, it's Mexican Independence, and that's right around the corner. So they got to let us know soon.
Right.
Hopefully they won't let us know a week in advance. So we need to know. People need to know now.
Well, it looks like a few of the names in the running, but besides Quigley, as we mentioned before, is obviously Callum Smith, who seems to want the fight, who seems willing to take a little bit less money. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders is in the running anymore for this fight. He's he's kind of been erratic about whether he wants to fight or not, and I don't think Canelo deals with people that are not sure if they want to fight or not.
Right. He's a cash cow. He decides.
Yeah, and then there's John Ryder, right?
John Ryder. Who's John Ryder?
I think John Ryder is another choice. I believe his name is John Ryder. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He's the one who fought Callum Smith in the last fight, and a lot of people thought he beat
I see.
Callum Smith.
Right on. Okay.
Were you able to
No,
catch that fight at
no.
all, Manny?
I've seen him fight before. I believe Callum Smith fought on the undercard of and Anthony Joshua last year in what was it, June, when we fought Joshua the first time. I believe he fought on the undercard, but I do remember seeing him fight before. He's a good fighter, man. He's legit.
Yeah.
Definitely a good fighter. Definitely a, a, a good fighter at the super middleweight division. But you have other fighters in the super middleweight division that are also pretty good. Fighters like Benavides, fighters like Caleb Plant, and then
Oh,
Smith. You know what I mean? These are all good fighters, man. So you fight any of these guys and give Canelo a good fight.
I really like Manny. I really like those names you mentioned, man. Benavides, Caleb Plant.
Yeah.
These are all strong, athletic guys, all with really
Solid,
solid attributes.
solid champions, but I don't know. Up to Canelo.
As you said, Manny, as you said, Callum Smith took on Hassan and Dam on
Hassan and Dam, correct. Hassan
on
and Dam.
yep on June 1st, 2019, at Madison Square Garden, where you, along with Andy Ruiz, made
Yeah, yeah.
history.
And Hassan and Dam he's I that's another fighter I worked with and I was able to work with in the past. Great guy, man. And I did see him in New York, by the way. Now that I remember, I did see him, but he's really not a super middleweight.
Right.
He's really more like a super welterweight, middleweight, but not a super. You could tell the difference in size, man, when they were fighting.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's just too big. It's just too big, too strong.
Well, yeah, and it definitely doesn't help coming up in middleweight to fight a super middleweight that's 6'3" Manny, with a 78-inch reach. That's Callum Smith, brother,
Yep, yep. Big,
and
big boy.
that is a big boy for super middleweight. But he looked really, really vulnerable in his last fight, Manny. In fact, I actually thought, I thought he lost the fight against John Ryder, if I'm being honest
Okay.
with you, Manny.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think if they do take this fight against Callum Smith, perhaps they're banking on his performance in that John Ryder fight, which could be great, but which could be an extremely dangerous proposition as well.
By the way, I honestly didn't know who John Ryder was. I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to,
No, no,
bash the guy or anything like that or try to make him any less. I just didn't know who he was. But if you get Colin Smith, as you said, if you saw the fight and if he gave him a good fight and you felt, people felt like he won that fight, hey, my respect goes out to him.
yeah.
I apologize, but I just didn't know who he was.
Oh, it's all good, Manny. I mean, he's not really a popular guy, to be honest.
Right.
I think he's more of a British domestic level guy. He's 33-5. He's 31 years old. He's 5 losses with the Callum Smith loss, but he actually, I mean, styles make fights, Manny. I guess
Right,
styles
absolutely.
make fights. And one thing that I noticed about him, Manny, and obviously I'm excited to pick your brain about this stuff, is he's a southpaw, and
Wow.
he was this much smaller guy. He was 5'9", 72
Wow.
inch, 72-inch reach. I mean, he had a
Wow.
6-inch reach
For,
disadvantage.
for, for a super middleweight, 5'9", damn, he's short.
Yup, with just a 72-inch reach, and I felt like the fight that he fought, Manny, was a very active, slippery inside fight. He was just being very slippery, moving around a lot and fighting on the inside, and on top of it, it was a southpaw, and maybe that's just the style that gave the really long Callum Smith some problems fighting on the inside like that.
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, look at Canelo. What is he? 5'7", 5'8" at the most.
Yeah, I mean Canelo can't be that
Canelo's
big.
he's short, man. He's probably about my size, maybe slightly taller than me. So, I mean, not to say that I'm short, but for that weight class,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Canelo's listed at 5'9" on
Oh wow.
Wikipedia, so that could be,
Ooh.
they could be exaggerated. He's listed as
I,
5'9".
I think so. I could be wrong, but I've been around Canelo, and he doesn't seem to be that tall.
Yeah, yeah, and he's also listed as having a reach of even shorter than John Ryder's at just
Oh wow.
70.5 inches. But Manny, if I'm advising Canelo, not that his advisors aren't fantastic already. I think that's probably part of the reason they're considering Callum Smith. If I'm advising him, I say, man, this is the big name in the division besides yourself. Go after him. He had a real tough time fighting this guy who was sort of domestic level on the inside. You know.
You should be a matchmaker, George.
I have my own. His name is Jesse Brown, and I love him very much. Big shout out to the Fighters Rep matchmaker Jesse Brown. But yeah, styles make fights, I guess, Manny, and maybe Canelo's people see something they like there.
Yeah, yeah. Fight the right fighters at the right time.
You also, Manny, you brought up Caleb Plant. You brought up Benavidez. Man, this is a very exciting division. It brings back memories of the Super Six, which happened in this division, Manny.
Yep, yep. Exactly with Andre Ward and some other
Carl
good.
Froch. We had Andre
Talking
Durrell.
about Andre Durrell, Carlos
Yeah.
Frost, great fighter, absolutely.
We had
I mean,
Arthur Abraham. Arthur
Arthur
Abraham was even
Abraham.
there.
We talk about fighters that were back in the day. They were in their prime. They were great fighters when they fought each other. They were definitely in their prime. So
Wow.
for Andre Ward to defeat every single one of these, well, to win the tournament was incredible because that just goes to show you that Andre Ward is a special type of fighter.
For sure,
Special, man.
for sure. And Mikhail Kessler was even in that
Yeah,
tournament, and he was good at the
there you
time.
go, Mikael Kessler. Absolutely, Mikael Kessler. Yeah, that's great.
Um, but anyway, all these guys, Manny, all super middleweights. What if we were to do, Manny, a Super Six today? You got, among other people, you could have Benavidez in there, Caleb Plant, maybe Canelo,
Why not?
throw Callum Smith in there.
Yeah,
I think we would have an amazing tournament if we were to do something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, absolutely. It'd be a fun tournament. But I think that the fighters, not to take anything away from any of the guys that from today's super middleweights,
Yeah.
but I believe that the fighters that you mentioned from the past Super Six tournament were definitely at another level. Yes, starting with Andre Ward
Oof.
and Carl Frock and some of the other guys you took, Mikhail Kessler, etc. These guys are incredible, man. They were in their prime and they were all world champions. Arthur Abraham, you know, these guys were beasts.
Oh,
So more than
man.
a couple. He's more than a couple. Then you talk about the Super Six. Shoot, and these guys were any of those guys could beat them. And anybody, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
you know, but it was Andre Ward that just went out there and swept all of them and won a tournament, pretty much.
Manny, man, that brings back memories of all those fights were awesome. I remember I had a really good time too watching a couple fights between Arthur Abraham and Edison Miranda. Do you remember Edison
Oh,
Miranda?
absolutely from Colombia. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Ooh, what a fight! I remember. I believe they fought in Germany where Arthur Abraham broke Edison Miranda's jaw, and he continued to fight with a broken jaw. That was incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
It
and
doesn't
and
come as a surprise to me. I've been to fighters fight. Oscar Valdez fought with a broken jaw when he fought Scott Quigg, and I thought that was incredible too. I mean, jeez, I've never seen anything like that. To be in a corner and working with Oscar world title fight and to see that happen and refuse to give up and go out and continue to fight and at the end of the night win the fight. But,
what a warrior, man.
that came up short, but for Oscar to go out there and beat Scott Quigg, knowing that he came in overweight and so forth and so on, that's incredible.
What a warrior. What a warrior. And it was actually, man, it was actually Miranda that broke Abraham's jaw.
Oh, it was the
I
other way
believe.
around.
Yeah,
Wow, look at
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Look at that. And he still won.
And he still won, but it
He
was it
still won.
was
There you go.
it
So
was
sorry.
it was controversial. It was controversial, so they ran it back. because a lot of people thought maybe Pantera, which is what they called
Yeah, El Pantera,
El
right? Correct.
Pantera, right? That they thought he won, and then they went back, ran it back, and Abraham knocked him out, and I think it
Yeah.
was the fourth round or something like that.
Ooh, wow. Was I wrong, huh? Was I wrong? I
But
thought it was Miranda that had the broken jaw, and it was actually Abraham. Getting too old, man. Getting too. But hey, this fight's tomorrow night on ESPN, so we got to stay tuned for that fight.
which
Should be
which
good.
one is that, Manny?
Oscar Valdez fights tomorrow night,
Oh, very
ESPN top.
nice. A guy obviously that you had a hand in making world champion.
Yep, a little bit, yeah.
Talk to me about that, Manny. What? Tell me a little bit about
Oh,
that
great,
championship fight.
great. Incredible. One of the proudest moments of my career as a coach. He knocked out his opponent in the first round, mandatory contender, undefeated with a great record from out of
Wow,
Argentina, and knocked him out with a body shot. Oh, it was beautiful.
wow,
Beautiful.
wow,
Just
wow.
knocked him out with a body shot, and won the world title, WBO featherweight title championship. It's a special moment, definitely.
Very nice. And he's fighting tomorrow against Jason Velez. Is that
Jason
right?
Velez, Jason Velez from Puerto Rico, game fighter. Definitely a game fighter. Definitely somebody that can go out there and put up a good fight. But I believe Oscar will come out victorious.
Absolutely. And that's in the bubble back where you were in Las Vegas.
Yes, yes, sir. Back in the bubble. I missed the bubble already. I missed the buffet.
Speaking of the bubble, Manny, speaking of the
Yeah.
bubble, you were there very recently
Yep.
where, your charge and Michaela Mayer had a fantastic performance
Hmm.
against Helen Joseph. I texted you immediately after that to tell you, my goodness, Manny, she looked phenomenal in there. What did you kind of
Yeah.
think of her performance that night?
Yeah. She graduated. She's ready for the next big thing. I believe she's now ready to fight for a world title. Given the opportunity, she'll be definitely be ready. I have to thank Coach K and Coach Al Mitchell, her head coach, for giving me the opportunity to work her corner. A lot of people may or may not know that Coach Al came up with the coronavirus, and obviously he couldn't make the trip, and he called me to fill in his shoes and work the corner, and he gave me, he trusted in me, her, the entire team, her and Coach Al, they trusted in me to be there, and obviously, not just wrap her hands and work cuts and whatnot, but work with her in the corner and guide her to victory, and it's an honor for me.
That was, well, I mean, that was an amazing performance, Manny. I mean, she looked so technical. She looked so good in there. I thought I mean, basically pitched a shutout in a fight that was
Yes, we
supposed to
do.
be a tough fight.
Yeah, apparently it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be her. There's no such thing as an easy fight. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
You win fights in the gym, and that's the reason why she was able to make it look relatively easy. Is because she came up with a great game plan. She listened to everything we told her in the corner, all the instructions we gave her. It's kind of like playing, uh, Xbox. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna
Yeah,
say
yeah.
Atari. I said Atari. Nobody's gonna know what I'm talking about with the joystick, right?
Oh, my
And
God.
you remember that, don't you?
For
You
sure, for
remember those
sure.
days? And just kind of like moving a joystick around and having her do everything that you're asking her to do, and she's doing it at the precise moment, and that's when as a coach, with Mr. Al Mitchell and Kay, and that's when that she's doing the right thing. She's listening. That's what I mean by she's ready for the next big thing, because she's listening to everything that you're telling her in the corner. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And that's
yeah.
something that's that's extremely difficult. It's extremely hard. That's extreme something extreme that it's extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you see your fighters do that, and this was supposed to be her toughest test, she made her look easy. She made her look simple. He
Man,
won second round. So yeah, congratulations, Michaela.
pass with flying colors, her toughest test, Manny.
Uh-huh.
Manny, what do you have going on next? Are you going to be headed back to the bubble at some point soon? What's going on?
I have I have Chris Zavala fighting. No, I have Alex Zavala, no relation, fighting on August the 17th in Tijuana in TJ.
Gotcha.
And then I come back that same weekend and I take off to Las Vegas again to the bubble where Chris Zavala will be he is back on schedule. He's unfortunately, due to again to the coronavirus and so forth, two of his fights had two fights have been canceled already. Had been canceled
Yeah.
up until now. Well, this is the third time's third time's a charm, right? So hopefully we'll nothing will happen, everything will go right, and we'll fight the third week of August.
Gotcha. Hey, it sounds like an exciting time, Manny. And any news for Terrell Gachet, Prince Charles Martin?
Yeah,
Anything else you could share with us?
Charles Martin's back in the gym. He just came in today. Today was his first day back, so there must be something going on. If he's back in camp, maybe we're gonna get a phone call really soon for him to fight later in the year. And Terrell already has he's got a fight date. He's got an opponent. It'll be a great fight. Should be a hell of a fight for the fans. I know they're really gonna definitely enjoy this fight, but I can't say who or when.
Oh my
I can't say
goodness,
who or when.
Manny.
It's up to me. It's up to the right people. The promoters and you got to stay in your lane for the right people who go out there and announce the fight. And when that happens, then we'll go ahead and talk about it. But I
For
can't.
sure, for sure. No, we totally understand that. We don't want to get you in trouble with any of these any of these guys, man.
No way.
Also,
You got to learn to stay in your lane. You know what I mean? And just be respectful and do your job. My job is to get the fighter ready and let everyone else do what they're supposed to do.
for sure. Neil, the security in here, he says, "What's up, champ? How you doing, Neil? Appreciate you being in here, brother." Manny, also, if people have been looking at the LBA Legends Instagram and the Manuel.boxing Instagram, you've been training a four-time three-division champ.
Right.
Currently, you're training him, none other than Abner Matis. Is he also, on the verge of getting a fight?
Yeah, yeah. We're also waiting on Abner Mares getting, waiting. He's in the gym, as you know, and we're waiting to get a fight date. So we get him ready for a fight. He's in the gym, getting ready, training. But it's different when when you don't have a fight date. The moment we get a fight date, then we go ahead and focus 100%, get him ready.
Absolutely. We've got, just a couple comments in the chat here, Manny. Neil Security said, "What's up, champ?" Solaire says, "Hey, it's Alston Allen. My account was terminated. So sorry. I haven't been here in a while. Just want to say what's up, give you respect, and enjoy the show."
So,
So appreciate you joining,
my man.
Solaire. What's up back to you, brother? And then we have one question here, Manny. It's Neil the Security. He says, "Did y'all talk about Chavez Jr. walking
Oh,
walking in high heels?"
oh man! Imagine how the dad feels.
Oh my God.
Imagine how Chavez Senior feels. You know what I mean? I mean, it's I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You know?
Man, if I was Chavez Sr. does not deserve that, man. He doesn't deserve that at all, brother.
You must be paying for something.
Oh my
I
goodness.
hope not.
Oh
You
my
know.
goodness. Well, I mean that's pretty much all the comments and questions we have today.
Yeah.
Knuckleheads, it's been an hour. It's a pleasure being with you guys, Manny. It's a pleasure talking to you again today.
Likewise.
Uh,
Likewise.
Guys, we will do this again Monday and every Monday at 7 p.m. It's going to be Keeping It Clean with Manny Robles, so be sure to hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon next to it, and join us. Until next time, guys, keep it clean,